Hey, my lovely Willow Vibes Tribe members. I'm Jessica from Willow Vines Intuitive Vibes, and I'm here to just do a share and a reading. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna share this publicly or not. I haven't decided. It just depends on how I feel about it after the fact. But what is probably why this really isn't the best time to talk because it just happened. Um, I did a reading a couple days ago, and I mentioned the name Lynn. I wasn't sure if it was a city, a town, a name, or whatever. It came up because that's how messages come up for me sometimes. Like I don't always understand them, like I've said a million times. And I was talking about the ER. I've talked a lot about death and breathing issues and problems, all kinds of stuff. And you don't really know exactly what certain messages are or who they pertain to until you get the confirmation or until you learn about people's lives. I'm shaking so bad right now. I'm like shaking the light, shaking the table. Like I'm literally, I don't know why I'm shaking. I'm shaking so bad. And it's like internal. It's not like, oh, I'm sitting here freezing. I feel like I can't stop shaking for some reason. So there's someone or whatever who's shaky is stopping. Because I was just thinking in my head, it's the dog. Okay. I heard the dog and me, but anyways, not me personally, but my one of my son's friends, one who lived here. Well, his name begins with T. I'm just gonna say. But anyways, he lived here temporarily. I'm gonna cry. I got a phone call at 10 p.m. tonight. Today is Thursday, March 30th, 2023. It's now Friday the 31st because it's after midnight now. I just got back, but I got a phone call at 10 p.m. from him, from my son's friend, that his mom was in the hospital and she wasn't doing good. So I was like, "Do you need me?" And he said yes. So I went to the hospital, and I know his mother, and actually we had a pretty decent conversation the very last time I saw her, but God, I'm gonna cry. I'm trying not to cry while I'm talking because I didn't cry the entire time until I was by myself after the fact because um, I know that her son hasn't really cried much, but I think it's more of a shock thing, and I don't know what else, but I was around a lot of emotional people during, because I met some of his family and friends that I had never met before, and it's just an emotional time. But I'll get into, I'll get into it. So her name is Lynn, and she was in the ER, which is what the phone call was, and I went up there, and she's on life support. She's only alive because of machines. Her son, this is part that's gonna make me cry. I'm wearing her ring right now, so that could be part of it. One of them. I'm not keeping it. It's just temporary. I just heard you can keep it, but that's not what this is about. Because I do psychometry and stuff. But her son found her. He thought she was asleep. And she wasn't breathing and had no pulse when he finally realized. And he called rescue. Um, I I spoke to the medical staff and to her, a close friend of hers. She's not gonna make it, and like trying to keep hope. I said if she does, she's not gonna be the same person. But I, I literally when I was standing there holding her hand, which was ice cold. Her hand was cold. My hands get cold too, but I could see her standing beside the bed. She thanked me for being there and told me to take care of her son. Like, help him. And I'll do what I can, but I'll do what I can. I don't know. Because there's a lot going on with that kid. And this is not going to help. But those are some of the hard lessons in life that we have to, that's what tests our true strength. And I met quite a few people that are tied to him who are supportive, so that's good. That made me happy. But I just heard no one's as supportive as you are. But what really killed me was when I hugged her friend, her roommate. She is not taking it well. They were very, very close. I think that's the hardest part when it comes to the passing of someone or an illness or whatever, is just watching the grief. Of the people who are left behind. And a lot of people assumed that she had overdosed, because that was the first thing that I heard. But when I talked to the medical staff, it's inconclusive. They don't know what caused it. She had COPD, breathing issues. She went into cardiac arrest, which anything can cause that. That just means your heart stops, basically. And nobody knows how long she was down for, not breathing and, not being responsive and whatever, which is probably why she's in the vegetable state that she's in. Ultimately, she's just a shell, is what it is, because she just wasn't there. When I looked right into her eyes, and she just wasn't there. But I mean, she was in the room, but she wasn't there. I don't know how to explain it. I can't stop shaking. Her dog shakes. Her dog is all like, it's a little dog. It's like, but I feel like it's more of a I'm cold and in shock kind of feeling, because I don't feel like this is 100% me feeling this way. I just heard, because it's not. It's how somebody else is feeling. Could be how she was feeling, even. But yeah, those were some messages I picked up on, and I didn't know. Like, her face popped into my head when I said Lynn, but I wasn't sure. I don't talk to them on the regular. It's, he doesn't live, her son doesn't live with me anymore, and I haven't seen him much because he got in trouble and stuff with the law, and he's got his own shit to deal with. I just heard, and you better get your shit straight. That's what I just heard. She was a very blunt person. She'll tell you exactly how it is. And what's really weird is when I was with her son, I saw some of his friends, because he was, he had to stop somewhere, and then he was dropping off dog food and stuff for who's taking care of the dog and all that. And there's this one moment where I'm just standing there, and I was looking at his friend who was holding a soda, a Mountain Dew. And in my head, I said, I thought, that's what I heard was, can I have a sip? And no sooner did I think it, because I wasn't going to drink after the kid, I don't know him. No sooner did I think it, her son asked him for a sip. And I was like, that's kind of funny. I must be in your head or something. Or I was. I can't stop shaking. I really can't. like, those are the messages that I get that I wish I didn't get, because it's hard for people, especially when they're young. She was only 52 years old. She's not really that old, and she didn't have the healthiest lifestyle and stuff, but it's so young, you know? And her son's only 21. He won't be 22 until, or maybe he is 22 now. I think he might have turned 22 in December. I can't remember. Yeah, I think he is. So he might be turning 23 this year. But regardless, he's young, and it's, and he's already experienced loss and other stuff in his life. So it's like, that's rough. That's rough. I just heard I didn't want this, and I keep getting a headache, like right here. And I had a headache right here before I got the phone call, and I took Tylenol for it, because I'm like, why am I getting a headache out of nowhere? Like, ugh, what the hell? And I took Tylenol, and then I got the phone call, and it kind of went away, and it's back. And it's only in that one spot. And, like, the nurse had told me she wasn't sure if she had a stroke, if it had something to do with carbon monoxide in her blood, because, you know, COPD, like breathing issues and stuff, because the toxicology report that they ran at the hospital, like, currently didn't show up any drugs, basically. I think her cholesterol was a little high or something like that, but that was about it. But I think they were going to do a more in-depth toxicology screening, but the routine, you know, basic stuff, she didn't come up dirty, basically, thus far. So it feels like a health thing. And I keep hearing while I'm wearing the ring that it is. It's like it wasn't an overdose or something. That's what I keep hearing, so I don't know. But that's not what it was. That's not what it was. A TA. That is a stroke. Those are, it's like a mini stroke. So she could have had multiple. I don't know, TA is sticking out to me, or maybe she had them prior and it just led up to something else, but she had a CT scan and they said that came up fine. But I also mentioned to the nurse, I'm like, hopefully they do an MRI when they transport her to a different hospital, because sometimes when you have an active stroke, it doesn't show up on a CT until after the fact, when there's damaged tissues in your brain. That's when it'll show up on a CT, unless it's massive. So it could have been multiple things, but MRIs will definitely show it. I know that through research and stuff. My chest hurts, like, but it's my breathing. My chest hurts. It just feels hard to breathe. Ooh, I feel dizzy. I feel dizzy as a mother effer. This could be how she was feeling, because it's giving me a freaking headache now. It's like my chest, it didn't hurt like a chest pain. It just felt like a tightness in my chest, like where your lungs are, and it was like hard to breathe. I felt really lightheaded, and it just gave me a massive headache. And I'm tired, which would probably be how you would go from a breathing issue. I just feel I'm so tired, and my head hurts. My head hurts. I don't know. That's what it feels like. So I don't know if that's how she felt. No one will know, because she can't say it unless the doctors can show it in some way. But I literally pick up on this stuff, and I'm not tied to her in a big way. I just, you know, obviously I know her son, he calls me mom, just like a lot of other kids. I'm a mom to many, basically, but I just heard, Angie, you're a good mom, which, thank you. That's nice. That's sad. I just heard you're better than me. She was a very emotional person, so it makes sense that I'm all teary eyed. Because there's been multiple times that she would talk to me and cry because of this issue, that issue. Like she tried. She tried to get through to her son, and she tried um, to do right by people, and she was very misunderstood. She didn't always handle things the right way. Like I said, she's a very blunt woman, but she wasn't a shitty person. She meant well, and um, a lot of things bothered her. Like she had a lot that she held back. Yeah, she had a lot that she never said. Whether she said it or not, there's a lot that was going on, like emotionally and thought wise and stuff within her, which happens with a lot of people. You know, you don't want to share everything with everyone. Um, I don't know. She struggled more than people realized, is what I want to say, with a lot of different things. Just with life. Life's fucking hard, is what I want to say. Life is so hard. It was really hard for her. Um, I just heard I ain't going nowhere, so she's gonna be around. She'll always be around. I don't know what else to say. The other weird thing is I split the deck, and look what card is here. Orphaned. Feeling all alone, feeling isolated, leaving someone behind. I want to sing that song. Everything's gonna be okay. It's gonna be alright. My stomach hurts so bad right this second, and it just happened. Like, I don't know, my stomach just started getting, like, I got a pain, like, in my diaphragm area. And that happened when I was in her apartment with her son. I started feeling sick. Like, I started getting pain in my stomach area, and I thought I was gonna puke. I don't know if someone's just, like, if that's just being worked up and nauseous and stuff, or if there's, I don't know if it's just the energy. I don't know what the hell it's about, but I did not feel good in there. Like, at first I was fine. Towards the end, it did not feel good. I was like, oh, I gotta get out of here. I didn't even go in her bedroom. I just was standing in the living room. And I was like, oh God, I gotta go. Because I just wasn't ready to pick up on stuff. And I met someone who lost her mother on the 6th. This is the year of loss. There's a lot of people who are losing people they love and care about. She actually lost her mother, this person, and she wanted me to do a reading, but with everything going on and just how chaotic the night was, I was like, we need to. I held her hand and I could feel her heart pounding. Like, I literally felt it, and I was like, you're nervous, aren't you? She's like, yeah. I'm like, now is not the time. There's too much energy going on. It's too chaotic. We'll set up a time and talk later on. So I'll meet with her at some point and deliver whatever messages she needs delivered for herself or whatever comes through. But it just wasn't. I was caught up in other stuff. You know what I mean? And I don't think she was ready because she was really scared. When I touched her hand, I was like, yeah, you're nervous. Like, I don't think it's the time to do this. And that's what I heard in my head, like, now's not the time. And I looked her in the eyes and I said that, and she agreed. She goes, okay, yeah, we'll do this later. Because we just know, you know? It's all about timing. And I don't feel like she would have been ready to hear whatever messages needed to come through. She wouldn't have been as receptive. You know what I mean? It's time and place. Because sometimes we want things, like, to happen today or right in a moment. And that's not when it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen later because of whatever reason, you know? Maybe you're just not ready for this person, that experience, this opportunity, whatever. Because I could tell you right now, with what I do with mediumship and picking up on people, health issues, and all that stuff, if this stuff would have happened to me a couple years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever, I wouldn't have known what to do. I wouldn't have been able to handle it. I wouldn't have been able to talk to people. I wouldn't have been able to share certain messages. I'm a lot stronger now, and I'm a lot braver. So I'll speak up and I'll say things, even if in my head I'm going, maybe it's wrong, or if I'm second guessing myself, I'll get that thought out of my head, I'll push it aside and just say what I needed to say. And 90% of the time, I'm not wrong with what I say. Like earlier today, I did a personal reading, and I get really good reviews on my personals and public readings and stuff. So it's not like I'm wrong with the stuff I say. It's just I always question it every single time because it doesn't make sense to me. So I guess it's natural to do that because it's like in your mind, your conscious mind wants to understand what you're talking about, but if it's not for you and you don't know that person's life, of course you're not going to understand. So it makes it seem like it's it's not factual, or it's not going to resonate with someone else because it makes no sense to me. And that's something I have to tell myself that every day. It does not matter if you understand, just say it. Does not matter, because it's not for me. I'm not doing it for me. But I have to remind my conscious mind of that so that I shut that little voice up. So I turn my ego off, basically. And it's not always easy to do. But like the reading I did today, those same little thoughts pop in my head, you know? And I got confirmation. I got an email, and I answered questions that the person didn't even ask. It was what was on that person's mind within the given situation, and it made me feel good that, you know, it made perfect sense to that person and that I helped in some sort of way. But without the confirmation, I would have just been like, well, I hope for the best. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. The truth. Communication is key. I just heard the truth will set you free. So I don't know if someone's truth will set you free or set me free or whatever. Someone needs to say something. Somebody wants to say something. Yeah. Yeah, I do, is what I just heard. Yeah, I do. Perfect. Thank you, Jessica. That was the comment. The King of Cups might want to say something, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, but there's someone who wants to talk. But yeah, tonight was a rough night. And it was rough for me, and I can't even imagine how rough it is for those who love and care about her and her son, her family. That's actually, that's the first time that I have ever physically seen someone in that state. And you know, I've been to car accidents, being on the fire department, and you know, I talk to the dead all the time, but spirit's different than looking at a physical body. And I wasn't scared or anything, you know, open caskets, I'm not scared about that or anything like that. That's not it. It was, in all honesty, it's easier to look at someone in a casket than it is in a hospital bed for some reason. But it was an experience I will never forget, for one, but it's weird because I kept smiling at her. I was wearing a mask because I had to, but I was like rubbing her hair. I kissed her on the forehead, but I was looking into her eyes, and And I just kept smiling. I don't know why. Because it wasn't a happy moment. Like, so I don't know what that means. But I think her face is imprinted in my head. Just seeing, I feel so bad for her son and her family, her roommate, her best friend, being there for that. Like, oh God. But yeah, I guess this is morbid enough. I just wanted to share, but it's the truth, because that's life. Death is part of life. Those experiences are part of life. Sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes it's not easy to hear certain things, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Someone's definitely listening, or they need to listen. There's a message. A lot of people are going to be talking, is what I want to say. I don't know if it's pertaining to the situation or spiritual messages or whatever, but the messages are true, they're real, listen. The messages are true, they're real, you need to listen, is what that feels like to me. Especially when it comes from the other side. It's real. It's real. I'm sorry if this one's low. I'm talking kind of low. It's late. I just know I can't sleep. Not tonight. I don't know. I got a lot on my mind all of a sudden. I just heard that will stop. It will go away. So it's just the energy that I'm in. Because there's certain things that need to be said, apparently. I'm going to light a candle for her. But this isn't the only other death that's coming. I know she's not fully gone. A ventilator's keeping her alive, machines, but she's gone. I just heard I'm sorry. So I don't know who's sorry. Someone's sorry. But you want raw and real? This is raw and real. This is the things that I experienced in my physical reality tonight. And with spirit, it's the stuff I experience on the regular. Emotion-wise, feeling-wise, when I get pains, when I feel sick, when certain things happen, when certain things pop in my mind. I'm not making it up. It's a painful experience on many levels at times, but it's worth it. Do you want to know why? Because it helps people. That's the point. If this fell on deaf ears for everyone and I couldn't use these abilities to help the living, to help them get past these difficult times in their life, to give them a sense of closure, a sense of peace of mind, especially when we're talking about those that we've lost, it wouldn't be worth it. But I know that I can give people that level of peace, those unanswered questions. You want to know what someone felt. You want to know what they went through. No matter how gruesome or painful the experience was for them, I feel that stuff. Like I said before with my Grampy Bill, I knew he was in a lot of pain before he passed, before anyone even told me. My whole freaking body hurt. Felt like my organs were shutting down, and that's exactly what was happening to him. Like, they gave him so much morphine that the doctors basically said if they gave him any more, it'd pretty much kill him. Like, they couldn't believe that he was still in pain. because that's how severe it was. I didn't feel it to that extent, but I felt it. You know what's really weird about this ring too? It's my son's friend's mother's. It's Lynn's, and it was on her thumb. She had it on this thumb, but I put it on this thumb for me, and the nurse couldn't get it off. She tried and tried and tried. She even put tape down. She put lube on her thumb, like trying to get it off, because she's like, yeah, if her hands swell more, then we really won't be able to get it off. And she was there for like half an hour trying to get the darn thing off. And I'm like, do you want a break? Do you want me to try? She's like, yeah, go for it. Because I heard, I heard while she was trying to get the ring off her finger, I heard, you take the ring. You can have this ring. Like, she was basically telling me I can have it. And I was like, I literally said in my head, I wasn't going to say it out loud because I didn't want the nurse to think I was a twack job or something. Because not everyone's a believer, time and place. And in my head, I'm like, if you really want me to have this, then I'll be able to get it off your finger. And I went over there, and not even a second, I didn't even have to try, it slid right off her thumb. Like, it wasn't even swollen. I just literally went over and went, like, whoop. And the nurse was like, I loosened it up for you. Like, she made a joke of it, but what are the odds of that? She told me I could have it, and I said, if that's true, I'll be able to take it off your finger. And that nurse fought and fought and fought, couldn't, and I did. And I was like, wow. Like, that's pretty weird. You know what I mean? She's intubated. She's got tubes down her throat, so I feel like I can't breathe. I just heard you're welcome. I can breathe now. But I'm gonna go, because this is long enough. I'm sure her son will see this down the line, but that's not what this is about. Because like I said, I don't even know if I'm gonna share it. I probably will. I don't know. This is life. Sometimes it's ugly. I think the hospital's calling me. So, because I get a transporter, I gotta go. Love you guys. Bye.